Hello, Gals and Ghouls. Welcome back to Cryptic Insight. My name is Cedric, and welcome back to another review video. This video will contain spoilers, and it will contain spoilers for the film Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This is the movie I'll be reviewing today, so if you have not seen this film, please go watch it. It's a great film. Go watch it, come back, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like our videos so far, we will be covering the rest of the Halloween franchise, and hopefully Halloween ends once that comes out, so like and subscribe if you want to see more of that. And then once all of these reviews are done, we will rank the Halloween franchise. We'll move on from there. I'm not sure what franchise I want to cover after this. If I want to cover a franchise after this, maybe I do a couple just kind of indie horror movies I've watched a little bit. Not sure what I want to do yet, but like and subscribe, keep an eye out for that, and we'll let you know when we get there. All right, going into the movie here. I think that I really love about the first three Halloween films is the lighting. The lighting in these films is what makes it for me. That we have the cinematography and the lighting. We've got Dean Cundey coming back for all the first three films here. We've got people who have been involved in the first three films coming back. Some of them not always being able to come back, but some of them coming back, being able to shoot these movies. And you can really tell the stylistic choices, the score, of course, being done by John Carpenter in the first three films, is quintessential to these movies to me. I'm a big proponent of atmosphere. I love atmosphere. I love the way the music highlights what we're experiencing. Sometimes even a lack of music. I do appreciate that too, when a horror movie can really build up atmosphere and scare you when there's no music. However, that being said, I do listen to horror movie music more than I do normal music. I am that kind of horror fan. And to me, what's more important than the acting, and don't get me wrong, if the acting is atrocious, I will mention that. And the acting isn't atrocious in this film. However, I don't feel the acting is what carries this film. What I feel carries this film is Tommy Lee Wallace's direction, his camera angles, the way he shot everything, the lighting, and the music by John. This movie, Halloween 3, really, you start to really feel where John is going in his horror career, score-wise at least. Halloween 3's score is way more The Thing to me than it is Halloween and Michael Myers, which is good because he was going for something different than Michael Myers, right? We're not getting Michael Myers in this film, which historically was not great for this film. This film did not do great because there was no Michael Myers in this film, which I get. I'm a huge Michael Myers fan. That is my favorite horror franchise. Michael Myers is my favorite of all time. So I get why some fans were upset. And initially, when I heard that there was no Michael Myers in this, I didn't much care for this movie. I never gave it a chance. I just one of those things where if there was no Michael, I wasn't really into it. And I'm glad I started watching it via recommendations from other horror fans on YouTube, and it really has grown in following, and I'm very happy it has. This film is artfully well done and just really has that sense of dread, and I think that's what I really like about this film. This film really from beginning to start has us kind of, the whole film is dark, and not just in what I was mentioning earlier, lighting, the tone, the mood, the inevitability of it all. It feels very just tonally dark, and like we can't get away from the darkness that is hiding within this film, and I like that a lot. Now going into some of the more specifics, Tom Atkins is in this film. He's in a Night of the Creeps, Creepshow. He's in other things that I cannot think of on the top of my head at this moment. But he plays Dr. Chalice, I believe is his name in this film. And I have a lot of feelings about Dr. Chalice. So I actually just noticed the fourth time watching this movie. I don't know why I thought this for the longest time, but I always thought that him and Linda, his wife, I think is her name. Linda. I'm going to go with Linda. I could be wrong, but that's okay if I am. His wife is his ex-wife. I thought they were still married in this movie, and so when he gets into those romantic relations with Mrs. Grumbridge, is their name, I think? Grumbridge, excuse me. I am I was confused when the first three viewings. I was like, why is she, like, if he's not happy, just get out of the relationship. It just, the first three viewings I had of Dr. Chalice, I really didn't like the character because I thought he was sleazy. I thought he was a sleazeball, and at least now that I know that he wasn't married at the time when he slept with this much younger woman in the film, Mrs. Grumbridge. She's much younger than him. They don't even mention her age in the film. Tom Atkins' character, Dr. Chalice, asks her later in the film, like, "How old are you?" And she's like, "I'm older than I look." And they don't really. That's a. So even they're kind of aware that they're like, this is a little weird. This is a little weird. This relationship's not what it. It's a little weird. And so that was one thing I don't really understand in this film, is just the relationship. It does kind of seem to move very quickly to me, if that makes sense. It doesn't seem like there's much build up, and it also doesn't, like, there's a couple sex scenes with them in between what their main goal of trying to investigate and figure out what's going on and what happened to Mrs. Grumbridge's father at the beginning of the movie. And that, I don't know, it just seems like you'd be wanting to, with this stranger, you would probably more likely ask for some more space. You'd appreciate their help in this scenario, but I wouldn't even, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. She seems very adamant about finding her father, and she goes and sleeps with him for a couple scenes in between, and they don't really get much done during those scenes besides having sex. So those scenes in the middle don't make much sense to me. The middle of this film, once again, kind of like Halloween 2, to me feels like it's the slower portion of this film. And there's still some great stuff in there, like the head ripping scene. There's a scene with this homeless guy gets his head ripped off by Colin Cochran's henchman, and that scene's really cool. I like that scene a lot. That's good effects. That's good effects works, and I believe that's Dick Warlock who rips off his head, who plays Michael Myers in Halloween 2. So that's a fun little Easter egg that I really like as well. It just seems to me like we're not furthering the plot as much as we could be, and I mean, other than that, I think the film does a great job in everything else. Going back to the beginning of the film, what I really like about the beginning of the film is that it's a good start to the film. We have Mrs. Grumbridge's dad running away from the henchman because he knows what's coming in these masks and what's going on and what Cochran's plan is. And that scene with the music, I think the music in the beginning is really good. Very Terminator-y, like I said, very The Thing-esque, if you will. It's very foreboding, very you just have a sense of dread, very dark. And just the beginning kind of sets up this pattern that they have where they set up little hints throughout the movie, and like subtle, like the commercial's always playing in the background in this movie, or at least it's playing a lot in the background, whether it's on the radio or a bunch of TV sets, at a store window. This commercial is everywhere. It's playing everywhere. These masks are everywhere. You can see them in the background sometimes. The character is either carrying them or has them on. Even Dr. Chalice's kids have them. His wife bought them a couple silver shamrock masks. And the film is really good about being consistent and not failing continuity too much, which is really good. And then when we get towards the end of the movie, the beginning is good. It gets you hooked in. You're like, why did all these things happen? What is going on? This craziness. You're learning things with Dr. Chalice as he finds them out. So we're essentially the audience is Dr. Chalice to some degree. We're learning things through him and experiencing the movie through his perspective for the most part. The middle of the movie has some cool moments, but I do think it's the weaker part. The second act suffers, I feel. And then it's still great. Don't get me wrong. When I say that the second act suffers, I feel like it's just not as good as the first act and the third act of this movie. but I still do think it's enough to keep you interested, of course. So, and then we get to the end of this film, and the end of this film is basically so bonkers. It is so insane. The plot is revealed by the villain. We have that villain monologue by Conal Cochran, owner of Silver Shamrock Masks, trying to invoke the rituals of Samhain, and he hints at he basically hints at how old he is, and he's been experiencing these rituals for a very long time. I still don't know how they got the headstone or the Stonehenge in this facility. They even mention it, like how absurd the idea is that they bring a Stonehenge all the way from I can't remember where it was from. Some country in Europe, I think, at the beginning, which they state at the beginning of the film that a Stonehenge was reported missing. No one knows where it went and what happened to it, which is like once again that continuity piece. But they even make mention of like how impossible that concept is, and Cochran mentions he's like, we've had a hell of it. You wouldn't believe how we got it here, and just the consistency in character development. Like even Cochran himself, when he's bested, he gives a slow golf clap to Dr. Chalice and Mrs. Gumbridge as he's been bested, and it was a good effort on them. Very sportsmanlike, if you will, for an evil villain. And Conal Cochran is a great villain. He's a great villain. The actor portrays him very well. He's very spooky, very creepy. I wouldn't go as far as say he's super scary, but he's very creepy and he's very evil, and he portrays that very well with his plot and his acting. So, overall, this film, I'm glad this film is getting more love. I'm glad this film is getting more attention. I do hope that they remake this film. This film is beautiful in the Scream Factory 4K, by the way. If you can get your hands on a copy of these, I highly recommend it. The 4K is unbelievable. I have old DVD copies of these films. The picture quality on the DVD copies is, you can see what's going on. They're all right. Like, I would watch them if that's what I used to watch for years, my first 3 viewings. My 4th viewing was on this 4K for the first time since I got it. God, it's so good. This picture quality is insane. Yeah, and I'm probably going to have the Happy Happy Halloween, 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 Happy Happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock stuck in my head for another month or two. Every time I watch this movie, that the song just gets in my head, and it's very catchy. Hoping to grab some Silver Shamrock masks in the future from Trick or Treat Studios. Go check them out too. Go support them. They're doing good work for us horror collectors over there. And yeah, guys, not much left else to say. The scores, the music, cinematography, lighting, acting, and plot, all very good in this film, and not a lot of gore to it. This is a good entry-level horror film for any fan. I think Halloween 1 and Halloween 3 are really good entries. If you want to start out getting into some serious horror, or maybe you have kids and you want to get them into horror, these are good entries into that, I would say. Outside of the nudity components to them, of course. So make sure your kiddos are older. But if your kiddo wants to get into these films, I would definitely recommend Halloween 1 and Halloween 3, as there's not a lot of gore, there's not a lot of blood. Yeah, and so for my rating for Halloween 3, I will also be giving this one 4 out of 5 gravestones. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. Thank you for joining me on this review of Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Next episode, we will be doing Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And we will have that review up for you as soon as we possibly can. Thank you for sticking with me. And if you like today's review, please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Stay creepy, guys. Thank you.